Hello, 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 and welcome to the Hemmy Productions podcast. This week is a big episode. Sorry for the huge delay to the nobody listening. We had a slight technical difficulty, as in I forgot to save. That was the difficulty. It was difficult because I forgot to save. But I hadn't recorded the bulk of the episode anyway, so don't worry. This is not going to be one of those podcasts where I'm complaining the whole time. Oh god, I have to repeat all this. Anyway, no, I'm just joking. But before we do any of that, we'll get into some recent breaking news. Some very unfortunate news before we get very excited about the Oscar nominations and, of course, the Hemmy nominations. Which is what we're all actually here for. Am I right, everybody, or am I right? Anyway, let's get on with the sad news. So the sad news for this week is that legendary comic actress Catherine O'Hara passed away at the age of 71, I believe. This sucks. I hate how many news stories on this show is just about people dying. But Catherine O'Hara, for those who don't know, the mother in Home Alone, the stepmother in Beetlejuice, the mother Moira on Schitt's Creek. Hate to reduce her to her mother roles, but they're some of her most famous roles, and she's just always been a comedic actress that has tickled my fancy ever since I was a little kid, and I'm very sad to hear that she's passed away. Just a bummer, but now that I've gotten that out of the way, it's time to talk about some movies, so let's get out of this news spot and get to the fun spot. So here we are, both the Oscar nominations and the Hemmy nominations. Now, these awards, for anyone who don't know, are voted on by a body of actual industry people. So the people who vote on the Oscars include everyone from the sound engineer to the gaffer to the actress starring in the movie, to the director directing them, to the producer producing them. Everyone kind of votes on these. And everyone votes within their disciplines, and then when you get to the larger awards, everyone votes on everything, which is why the Oscars can sometimes have a lot of surprises. And there's been a few surprises this year, more good surprises than bad. My biggest overall takeaway is the bunch of movies is great. The 10 Best Picture nominees, there's only 2 movies in there I don't really vibe with, but I even understand their placement there. And in terms of everything else, I think there's nothing to be too upset about this year. Overall, I think that last year was a better Oscar year. The 10 Oscar movies there just sort of ate out my heart a little more. But this year got plenty of friggin' great movies. And my 10 Best Picture nominees are all 4.5 or 5-star movies. So I'm pretty happy with my personal Hemmy Awards. Now, I'm going to go through category by category. I'm first going to announce the Oscar nomination, and then I'll move on to the Hemmy nomination, and we can just talk a bit about each category as we go along. So, I've been really looking forward to this. I'm such a nerd for this stuff, because this is sort of, while it doesn't take away from the movies that aren't voted, it doesn't change your perception of the movies themselves, it definitely lends to a conversation about the year. It also leads to film history, Best Picture winners go down in film history for better or for worse, and so does every other category. So it's a lot of fun, and I'm not being too serious about this. There are still movies I haven't seen that are on the Oscar lists, and there are some categories I think may have little sneaky ones, little sneaky entries. So unlike the Oscars, if I see anything between now and the official Hemmy Awards ceremony that I think deserves a nomination or deserves a win, I'm just going to sneak it on there. So this is not a final list, but it's pretty damn final for most things. And the Oscar list is final, believe it or not. They don't do last-minute announcements, which they should, because the Hemmys have been around for at least 0 years now, compared to the Oscars, 100 and so years. Anyway, let's go. Let's start with the first category, which is a new category for the Oscars, Best Casting. This category is for the overall cast. It's kind of like the Ensemble Award at the Screen Actors Guild Awards. There is a casting director. I believe it'll be awarded to the casting directors, although the list I'm looking at doesn't have their individual names listed. So I will just read them out. Best casting. We've got Hamnet, we've got Marty Supreme, we've got One Battle After Another, we've got Sinners, and The Secret Agent. Probably the most surprising one on this, The Secret Agent. The one I probably disagree with the most is Hamnet. I think Paul Mescal's not very good in the movie, and I don't think it's got a very wide supporting cast, but it does have some excellent child performers, so I think that is a really good act of casting. Now, I've done my own awards for even the technical category, so I've got one for best casting. My list is the film Urchin, One Battle After Another, No Other Choice, Weapons, and Sinners. And just to talk about all of them briefly, I think every movie that I chose has quite a large ensemble. The smallest is probably Urchin, and even that one slowly builds out this very large cast of all new faces that I haven't seen before. That's what really stood out to me there. One Battle, clearly just getting the best actors working all in the same movie. It's one of those movies that feels crazy that it was actually made with that many people in it. And not to mention Chase Infinity, who I may mention again during these Hemmy nominations. I put No Other Choice on here just because I think the amount of famous South Korean actors who get to steal scenes in their performances. I think the family is very well cast and has a very interesting dynamic with each other. And again, the kid actors are good. And when it comes to casting directors, finding good kid actors, I think, is a really underrated feat. I could put 28 years later on here as well for that, but I may have him in another little category too. The other one is Weapons, which very obvious, just a huge cast of faces that we've grown to love, along with Michael B. Jordan at its core. Playing two characters, I think, is an inspired casting choice, probably not by the casting director, but there are so many characters, from the little extras, from the little farm people, to anybody inside that rave. It's just like everybody feels like fun. I could see the whole crew rushing on stage to accept this award, and it'd be great. Same could go for Sinners, with all those kids running on stage. Plus, I really think that movie, which one of the things I love most about it is just its expanded cast and how it looks at this one scenario from so many different angles. And I think every character that they cut to was the best person to play that role. It's quite a brilliant film. Anyway, realizing I can't dive too deep into these, otherwise it would be such a fucking long episode. So let's fly through the technical categories a little faster. Shall we? We're going to skip the shorts because I haven't gone to one of those screenings that shows you all the shorts yet, so I can't really decide. Plus, I don't really watch YouTube videos. I like short films. I watch a lot of short films, but maybe I should make a segment about it on this fucking podcast. Anyway, we're going to skip the short film awards. I'm really glad that they still do those, though, because you got no idea how important those short film Oscars are for up-and-coming directors. Anyway, best visual effects. We've got nominated Avatar, Fire and Ash, F1, the funniest nomination on the list, Jurassic World Rebirth, Sinners, and The Lost Bus. Now, visual effects category, this makes sense, all of these, even Jurassic World Rebirth, which I think looks bad, but I don't know, the dinosaurs do look like dinosaurs. Out of all of these, I can see F1 getting it just because people are over Avatar, and F1 managed to squeeze into Best Picture, so I think it simply just has a little more favor. My personal list for visual effects is a little more fun, if I do say so myself. I've got The Toxic Avenger, Avatar, Fire and Ash, Mickey 17, Warfare, and Predator Badlands. The Toxic Avenger has sneaky amounts of CGI, but also visual effects aren't just digital visual effects. There's a lot of practical stuff going on with The Toxic Avenger. Avatar Fire and Ash speaks for itself. Mickey 17 I just found to be a very oppressive submarine-like experience, and I like that for a sci-fi film. So I really enjoyed the visual effects in Mickey 17. The action, the space travel sequences, and him dying 17 times always looks pretty cool. Warfare just feels like being in the military and made me want to die. Predator Badlands. Guess what? It looks like a video game, but that's a compliment in this. It really has these really nice open landscapes. And Ella Fanning without any legs. Elle Fanning looks fucking cool on Old Mate's Back. Can't remember that movie that well, to be honest. But the visuals impressed me, so it deserved the nom there. Moving on, we're on Best Cinematography category. Nominated from the Oscars, Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Train Dreams. All of these movies, Best Picture nominees, which is crazy. Best cinematography out of all of them, it's hard to say. I can tell you the worst, which is probably Frankenstein, but even that has some interesting shots in it. Overall, I miss when the Academy would just vote for more out-of-pocket things. You'll see that in the costume category coming up. But other than that, you can't really argue with those 5 picks there. My picks, however, let's scroll down to Best Cinematography for the Hemmy Awards. We've got One Battle After Another, of course. We've got No Other Choice. We've got Sentimental Value. We've got If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. And we have Avatar, Fire and Ash. One Battle is just an impressive feat of filmmaking. There are shots in that movie that I don't know how they did it, and same could be said for No Other Choice. Sentimental Value, I think, it's so much a movie about a house, and it really expresses that house quite well, and with some real austere quality to it. Turns out Joachim Trier knows how to make a pretty movie. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You is the most claustrophobic movie I've seen all year, so that just has to go in there for achieving that, mostly through cinematography and performance, of course. But Avatar Fire and Ash is on there because no other movie fucking looks like that, and I'm still impressed every time I watched it, even if the fucking Academy is faded by it. Anyhow, on to Best Film Editing. This is where you see F1 again. F1 got into Best Picture, spoiler alert for no people who don't know that, and I think it is because of its technical aspects. You've got the soundies voting for it, you've got the editors voting for it. Surprised it didn't get cinematography, it is quite impressive, although mostly just shots from a car. But yeah, you see where F1's getting steam. Marty Supreme in Best Film Editing, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. The only one I share there is Sentimental Value, and because I simply like a lot of the fade to blacks that movie does. It does a lot of creative editing, does a lot of imposing, superimposing, but so does a little film named No Other Choice, which I only just thought about, and I am kicking something off my list. Sweet. Sentimental Value, No Other Choice, One Battle After Another, Train Dreams, and Mighty Supreme. Okay, so I guess I'm sharing 3 editing nominations there. I really just think all of those movies for what they are, which can be so unwieldy and so large, they manage to feel tight. There's no sag in really any of those movies, and the editing doesn't just feel like it's there to break up the action, it really complements it. So, all great fucking nominations from both the Hemmy Awards and the Oscars there. Best Sound. Now, the Oscars voted for Frankenstein. I don't really know what the choice is there. They voted for F1, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Sirat. Now, Sirat hasn't come out yet, but that movie is set at a rave, and I imagine will have impressive sound, so that is a likely one that may come for my Best Sound Hemmy Award. I still have 5 nominations nonetheless. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, Avatar, Fire and Ash, Sinners, and Presents. Now, not presents like gifts, but presents. So, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You just has these overwhelming moments of sound that really capture what both the child's going through and what the mother's going through. Not to mention the fucking beeps in the hotel room, holy shit. Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning has some incredible action sequences that would be nowhere without some good sound design. The one scene in particular that stands out to me is when Ethan Hunt gets in that weird entity machine. Some of the sound in that is fucking incredible, especially in the theater. Avatar Fire and Ash speaks for itself with the friggin' Na'vi cries, with the big sky monsters, whales, and fucking... there's just so much sci-fi goodness in that it's very surprising it didn't get in Best Sound. Sinners, of course, I just think it invented its own code of sound for the whole movie. And that movie is so much about music and sound. And of course that has to be nominated. Presence, I think, deserves a nom just for this empty, oppressive feel that it has. And it's an interesting movie, and I wanted to acknowledge it in some way. So, that's the Best Sound Awards. Now on to the Best Production Design. We have Frankenstein, we have Hamnet, we have Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. Now, you're hearing those names a lot. Yep, Frankenstein, Marty, One Battle, Sinners. Those are everywhere. I really wish there was a little more spread out categories here. I do share some with the Oscars. I've got Frankenstein on there, which, if you're going to recognize Frankenstein for anything, production design is the 100% main thing to celebrate that movie for. I also have Sentimental Value, which has such a unique set of sets, which has such a unique home and just a really unique look and feel to the movie. It has that real Norwegian feel to it. I believe that film's Norwegian, and if I'm wrong, I apologize. The Secret Agent is the same. I've never been to Brazil, but I feel like I'd been there watching that movie, and when you get to some of the really elaborate sets, like the theaters, like the office buildings and all that, it's just very impressive, not to mention the color. The friggin' color of this movie. You also feel like you're in the 70s. Very, very, very good production design there. No Other Choice is the same thing. Same with Sentimental Value. Very unique house in this movie. But beyond that, every place in this movie feels unique and distinct. And just like The Secret Agent, it makes me feel like I've been to a country I haven't visited, as I'm so familiar with the streets of Seoul and these different houses, of which there's multiple in this movie, so it's not just like fucking bullshit Sentimental Value. We got multiple homes in this movie. Finally, I have Begonia, which not only depicts a office space incredibly well and kind of scarily, but also a CEO type's home, and then an incel's home. So Begonia, what a fucking movie. Anyway, best makeup and hairstyling. This is where we get a couple, just one really, one out-of-pocket nomination. Two. There are two. Three out-of-pocket sole nominations here. You've got Kokuo, you've got The Smashing Machine, you've got The Ugly Stepsister, you've got Frankenstein, and Sinners. Frankenstein, of course, that's there. Sinners, of course, that's there too. It's a vampire movie. The Ugly Stepsister looks incredible in terms of makeup and hairstyling, and honestly deserves this. We'll see how much Frankenstein sweeps. Same goes for Kokuo, another film I haven't seen, but even just the trailers I can tell, very impressive. And The Smashing Machine, they make The Rock look very, very different. They make The Rock look like Mark Kerr. They make Emily Blunt look, well, a bit trashier. It's quite impressive. Here are my nominations. And I do have a couple that I share with the Oscars. I have The Smashing Machine. I have Avatar, Fire and Ash. That wasn't nominated for a makeup and hairstyling Oscar? What the fuck? Anyway, I have Bring Her Back. I have Begonia, and I have The Phoenician Scheme. Now, Begonia's makeup, the look of Emma Stone in that movie, and the boldness, not to mention the frizzy hair of the incels, very good. Bring Her Back, well, if you haven't seen Bring Her Back, you don't know what good makeup and hairstyling is. I don't just mean blood. Avatar, Fire and Ash, Varang. Is there much more that needs to be said? There's Varang in Avatar, Fire and Ash. The Smashing Machine I share with the Academy. The Phoenician Scheme, a movie that completely was snubbed at the Oscars. I think it is lesser Wes Anderson, but I can't deny the makeup and hairstyling in that movie, so there's a little sneaky nomination for a movie I did like, The Phoenician Scheme. Now, Best Costume Design. This is where Avatar, Fire and Ash was hiding. I thought it got into makeup and hairstyling, but no. We've got Best Costume Design. The Oscars voted Avatar, Fire and Ash, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Mighty Supreme, and Sinners. 5 names we've heard throughout the list, almost identical to the production design category, except no One Battle. Instead, we got an Avatar sneaky nod there. Can't really argue with any of those nominations. I have different ones. My best costume designs, we have Avatar, Fire and Ash. We have One Battle After Another, which I'm surprised didn't get a best costume considering the friggin' bathrobe that Leonardo's wearing. Anyway, I've got Wake Up Dead Man, I got The Phoenician Scheme, I got Superman. They're my nominations. Now, there's one main costume in Superman, and they got it pretty good, and so that gets a nom for me. Phoenician Scheme, everyone looks delicious in. Avatar Fire and Ash, we've got Varang's little loincloth, but also just the design of every kind of main player in that movie and how they change clothes and all that. Yeah. Fuck, I'm not a costume designer. I don't know what I'm fucking talking about, guys. Wake Up Dead Man has a lot of priests and other characters in it, and I just really like the costumes, and I didn't want to put Frankenstein on here. We're almost out of the technical categories for anybody who's bored as fuck. Best documentary feature. Here you go. Now, this is what everybody wants. I'm pretty sure we are out. That was almost every technical category. So, we're getting into the big stuff now. Might take a quick break, and I'll be back. Here we go, best documentary feature. Now, this is a category that I will definitely be catching up on. I'm still catching up on the Oscar shortlist fucking movies for this category, but I do have a 5. Let me give you the Academy's 5 first. We have Come See Me in the Good Light, which I believe will be winning. We've got Cutting Through the Rocks. We've got Mr. Nobody Against Putin. We've got The Alabama Solution, and we've got The Perfect Neighbor. I share The Perfect Neighbor on my list. We have, as well as The Perfect Neighbor, where are my documentaries? We have Predators, the Chris Hansen exploration of that program to catch a predator. We have Video Heaven, a beautiful 3-hour video essay that I saw in cinemas by Alex Ross Perry. Brilliant documentary. We have Megadoc, a look into the behind-the-scenes making of last year's Megalopolis by Francis Ford Coppola. If you like seeing famous people in the same room together, you got a lot of that in that movie. Finally, Cover Up. Was surprised this didn't get a nomination, as it was distributed by Netflix and just know a lot of people who have seen it. And it was shortlisted for the Oscars. Just a movie about a man who has been looking at government's conspiracies and cover-ups for 50 odd years. Very interesting fucking documentary, and quite well made too. Now, next category is Best Animated Feature, which I have a couple I want to watch that I haven't been released in theaters in Australia yet, but I still have a 5. Let me give the Oscars. We've got Arco, which is this brilliant looking foreign animated film, superhero movie, I believe. We have Elio from Pixar, K-Pop Demon Hunters, which, if I had to put money on any of these categories, K-Pop Demon Hunters winning this with a fucking bullet. We have Little Amelie, or The Character of Rain, and we have Zootopia 2. It's been a really weak year for animated movies, and I was struggling to make up my 5. So I'm going to watch Arco, I'm going to watch Little Amelie, and maybe they will sneak on. These are my 5 movies. The Bad Guys 2, Looney Tunes, The Day the Earth Blew Up, K-Pop Demon Hunters, Zootopia 2, and Lesbian Space Princess. All movies that are good and that I'd recommend. None of those are above and beyond. Except maybe Looney Tunes. That's probably my number 1 out of all of those. That or Zootopia 2. Hard to say. And Best International Feature. Another one where I still have a couple that I want to see that haven't been released. Haven't been able to watch all of the nominees for this fucking category. Anyway, the Oscars voted for it. Was just an accident, which wasn't in Best Picture. Instead is represented here. Sentimental Value, Sirat, The Secret Agent, and The Voice of Hind Rajab. Both The Voice of Hind Rajab and Sirat have not been released yet. I want to watch them. I still have a 5. My 5 is No Other Choice, which was completely snubbed by the Academy, which is just fucking strange because of, I don't know, where we fucking are with Park Chan-wook. Why has he not already received an Oscar? It doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, I've got that, I've got Sentimental Value, I've got The Secret Agent, and I've got Left-Handed Girl. I don't have a 5th because the other foreign movies I've watched I didn't like. So I need to watch Sirat, I need to watch The Voice of Hind Rajab, and I'm just going to try and watch more foreign shit from last year to make a better 5. And maybe, I really don't see anything but No Other Choice winning that for me. But maybe we'll find a new contender for Best International Feature. Best Score. Now this category is always fun. I love music. And the scores listed by the Academy nominated are Begonia, Frankenstein. The Frankenstein love I find really baffling. I know it's a movie I do like, but I just think so much of that thing doesn't work. Original score, I guess it does have a good score, but not super memorable. Hamlet's also been nominated. I got a big problem with that score. It reuses a lot of Max Richter's other music, most notably one major song. We've got One Battle After Another, and we have Sinners. All good scores, all good scores. Can't argue with those. My nominations are Begonia, Marty Supreme, The Mastermind, One Battle After Another, and Train Dreams. My biggest surprise is probably Train Dreams not being in there, which is just a beautiful, idyllic score with a song by Nick Cave. I mean, fucking, what else can I say? One Battle After Another, just that beautiful pop jazzy score, and Johnny Greenwood's never won an Oscar. The Mastermind is a similar score to One Battle After Another, but a little more subtle. Perfect for Kelly Reichardt and just complements that film fantastically. And I wanted The Mastermind to be represented on here because that's a brilliant film. I also have Marty Supreme, which is just has the perfect score for that movie that makes your heart beat out of its chest. And Begonia has some of the most oppressively violent fucking scoring I've ever heard. Really sells that movie. Really fucking sells it. And that's probably, out of all these movies, if you took away the score, there'd be nothing there. Maybe even Train Dreams. That's really sort of a quiet movie. Anyway, why are we talking about imaginary scenarios? Next category is the only one I haven't done my own list for because I think it's a stupid category. It's Best Original Song. We have Dear Me from Diane Warren, Relentless. We've got Golden, which will win, from K-Pop Demon Hunters. We have Allied to You from Sinners, which I could see winning, but Golden is just a full-on hit, so I really don't see anything else beating it, even if Sinners wins every other category. Sweet Dreams of Joy from Viva Verde, and Train Dreams from Train Dreams. My favorite out of that bunch. Probably because Nick Cave fucking wrote it. Really fun categories just left now. We've got Best Original Screenplay. Now, this one was a surprise, little surprise here. Blue Moon, which is a movie I saw at the Sydney Film Festival. Didn't think much about. It's I don't think it's written by Richard Linklater, but that's one of his latest movies. We have It Was Just an Accident, we have Marty Supreme, we have Sentimental Value, and we have Sinners. Pretty great original screenplay category there. Really wish Ava Victor could have been represented there from Sorry Baby. That movie was unanimously praised, which is why it confuses me. Maybe because it's a debut. Maybe it's because she's a woman, who fucking knows. But that wasn't in there. I tell you what, it is in. It's in the fucking Hemmy Awards. So, Best Original Screenplay, we have Weapons. We have If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. We have Eddington. We got Sorry Baby. And we have It Was Just an Accident. It Was Just an Accident has to be there. I've shared that with the Oscars because fucking I've never seen a movie like that before. This blends reality and fiction, not for comedic sake, but sometimes, but for mostly political and utterly tragic and utterly perplexing circumstances. It's a brilliant screenplay. I really hope it does get recognized here, but I doubt it. I think that we could go to Sinners for sure. We have Sorry Baby, which is an incredible act of self-bravery. The fact that Ava Victor wrote, directed, starred in this movie about herself, about an incredibly difficult subject matter being sexual assault. It's just very well handled. I've never seen a screenplay handle sexual assault so well without triggering its audience and without glorifying the events. So that needs to be in there. Eddington is one of the best satires of the year, and so much so it just feels like you're watching a documentary about America. And If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, I think, is such an original way of telling a story of how difficult motherhood is and how sometimes, even though it's not you that's got a hand behind your back, even if it's someone else, how hard it can be for the people around you to watch something happen to someone you love. Finally, we have Weapons, which could have gotten this category. I really wish got nominated because everyone was talking about fucking Weapons. It's got the best friggin' opening. It's got such a trailer. And it's all because it's just a simple concept that everyone can relate to. What do we do when this kind of tragedy happens in a town? How do we react? How do we cope when this many kids go missing from mysterious circumstances? And the parallels that can be drawn from and that are suggested in the film are very deep. It's a movie that only grows on you with rewatch as you understand how all of its mechanics truly fit together. I think it's quite a brilliantly written film. And much better than Zach Cregger's last movie, which I really liked. But Weapons, I just think, is a fucking masterpiece. But that's going to be a tough category for me to decide a winner on, to be honest. Now, where are we? We are on Best Adapted Screenplay. That one I can give you 2. So the Oscars nominated Begonia, Frankenstein, which that is the most egregious one here. Frankenstein adaptation written by Guillermo del Toro. He was originally going to adapt a different Frankenstein screenplay that would have been better. This is not a great adaptation of Frankenstein. It's an interesting one. I do not think it represents the book entirely well. It is very self-serving. And more so, it's Frankenstein via Guillermo del Toro. This is not Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So it's an odd adapted screenplay nomination for a man who already has a ton of Oscars. Anyway, Hamnet, I copy-paste what I just said, basically. You could put just there. One Battle After Another, and Train Dreams. Now, my Hemmy nominations are No Other Choice, adapted from The Axe, I believe. One Battle After Another, which is adapted from American Wasteland, I believe. Die My Love, which is from the same book. Begonia, which is adapted from a Korean film, and it's a brilliant adaptation of that Korean film, Escape to the Green Planet, or Escape From. And then Mickey 17, which I just think is inspired twisting of the book. All of these categories all of these speak for themselves, and I've spoken for them in this episode. I think they're all worthy adaptations, all interesting adaptations that not only complement the source material, but expand upon them in interesting ways, which is just how I think you should adapt things to the screen, quite simply. All of those are adapted from, other than Begonia, they're all adapted from books. And I think they serve as interesting, all of them serve as interesting countermeasures to their original pieces. So, weird picks from the Oscars, but the Hemmy Awards are fucking impenetrable, as usual. Now, Best Director. This is where I had a big snub. 2 big snubs, but one I understood a little more. No fucking Park Chan-wook and no fucking Jafar Panahi. Very fucking surprising that there's no Jafar Panahi here, who I honestly thought could win. To me, that means there's only one real winner, which is Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another. But there's also Ryan Coogler for Sinners, Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, which is surprising considering the Safdie brothers have not been recognized at all by the Academy before, to my knowledge. Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value, and Chloe Zhao for Hamnet. Now, Chloe Zhao for Hamnet's an interesting one. That's not a poorly directed film. But I think she's simply there. I hate to say it. I think she is the woman slot. And I think that slot could have gone to a lot better films directed by women and men. Very interesting that she's here, but not surprising at all. My best directing nominations are Park Chan-wook for No Other Choice. Yes, I fucking like No Other Choice. Mary Bronstein for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Ava Victor for Sorry Baby. Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another. And Jafar Panahi for It Was Just an Accident. And I can't believe that I only share one category with the Oscars here. Really think it was a missed opportunity for Mary Bronstein or Ava Victor not to get just like a first-time director nomination. They're going on to have bigger and better careers after these 2 films have been very successful and critically acclaimed. Would have been nice to see them recognized there. But I could name tons of other women who were deserving as well. Yeah, it sucks that there's only one woman in the fucking category. Hate to say it, this category has always been notorious for sexism, but the industry is also notorious for sexism when it comes to directing, so let's escape this can of worms and go to Best Supporting Actor. The Oscar nominees are Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein, surprising nom, really glad it's in there, Delroy Lindo for Sinners, Sean Penn for One Battle After Another, and Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. Pretty fucking good, fucking solid category there. Can't argue with you too much, Oscars. Although I will argue with you because my supporting actor noms are Sean Penn from One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi from Frankenstein, Delroy Lindo from Sinners. So 3 for 5. Pretty good Oscars. You got 3 of the Hemmys right. Aidan Delbus from Begonia, and Carrie Christopher for Weapons. Now, all these performances I think are brilliant. I want to go into them more later. Sean Penn and Jacob Elordi speak for themselves. I've talked about them. Everyone talks about them. Same with Delroy Lindo. But Aidan Delbus in Begonia, he plays the autistic brother of Jesse Plemons in that film, and I think is one of the most tragic elements in that movie, and he plays that part to a T. He's fucking fantastic. Same can be said for Carrie Christopher, who knocked off, I believe his name is Alfie Williams, who played Spike in 28 Years Later. I wanted a kid performance on here because we had a lot of great kid performances. And Carrie Christopher as the little boy, the one left in fucking Weapons, is tragic. And this boy is such a good actor to convey that level of tragedy on such a little kid's shoulders. This whole movie kind of rests on this boy's shoulders, and he carries the movie. And it's very fucking impressive. Anyway, moving on. Best Supporting Actress. The Oscar nominees are Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value, Igna Ibstotter-Lilias for Sentimental Value, Amy Mannigan for Weapons, sole nomination for Weapons, Winami Masaka for Sinners, and Teyana Taylor for One Battle After Another. Now, I have a pretty similar list with similar films, but different nominations. The only one I have in common here is Igna Ibstotter for Sentimental Value. I've got Rachel Brosnahan, who played Lois Lane in fucking Superman. Yes, she deserves it. Regina Hall for One Battle After Another. One of the most subtle rock performances of the year. Julie Gardner from Weapons. She's the first character we follow in that movie. And it's just the most brilliant eyes to view that movie through. And it's probably the best part of the movie, to be honest, other than the ending, her section. And finally, Yom Hai-Ran from No Other Choice. Now, this is a character of... it's hard to explain her without spoilers, so I'm just not going to. Just trust me, she steals a performance in this movie. Igna Ibstotter-Liliad, I just thought is fucking incredible in Sentimental Value, and stole the attention away from Renette Ranciv, which I didn't think was possible. Rachel Brosnahan understands Lois Lane better than any other character has since the original fucking Superman movie, and I think she really stole the movie for me, even above a performance from Superman that I really enjoyed. What was Superman's name? What's our new Superman's name? I can't fucking remember, but I remember that Rachel Brosnahan is Lois Lane. Regina Hall from One Battle After Another, I've already said. She's the rock. That hand was a key part of that movie, and something about her determination in the movie and her unflinching abilities really stood out to me. And yeah, Julie Garner, we already talked about. Just fucking brilliant. Really good supporting actress category from both me and from the Oscars this year. Best Actress, another category we think is pretty well locked up. Jessie Buckley for Hamnet will win that category. She is nominated. Rose Byrne is also nominated. Sole nomination for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Kate Hudson is nominated. Sole nomination for Song Sung Blue. Renate Rain-Siv from Sentimental Value, and Emma Stone for Begonia, which surprises me, but also not really because she's Emma fucking Stone. Anyway, what are my nominations for Best Actress? We have Ava Victor for Sorry Baby. We have Una Chaplin for Avatar Fire and Ash. We have Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. We have Jennifer Lawrence for Die My Love, and Chase Infinity for One Battle After Another. Holy fuck! What a stacked category. Ava Victor I talked about as the screenwriter of her movie, and for everything I said there applies to her performance as ostensibly herself within the movie. Una Chaplin will be remembered for generations by prepubescent boys who went to see Avatar Fire and Ash and learnt what it meant to be attracted to someone. Nobody has had more presence in a film than Una Chaplin as fucking Varang in Avatar Fire and Ash. A franchise that everyone makes fun of for having unmemorable characters. They said, what if we just make a character that you never fucking forget? She is on my desk right now. A little statue of her. Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. What can you say about this performance that hasn't already been said? It's just one of the performances of the year. It is a mother performance in the same vein as Jennifer Lawrence in Die My Love. Two women just losing their minds. And I've never believed it more than in those two films. And then Chase Infinity in One Battle After Another, who just stole the fucking movie away from Leo for when she's on screen. And she's so young, but so capable, and no one's more perfect to play that character than her. It's fucking incredible. What a category. Best Actress. Same can be said for Best Actor, which I think is also pretty locked up. The nominations for the Oscars are Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon, secret little extra pop there for Blue Moon, Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, and Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent. I can't argue with any of those 5, and if you forced me to make that my 5, I would be happy with it, but I have a slightly different one. I also have Lee Byung-hun from No Other Choice, of course, one of my favorite movies of the year. I've got Michael B. Jordan from Sinners also sharing with the Academy. And here's two nominations for you. I got Alfie Williams 28 years later. I knew he was on my list. I knew it'd be weird for him to be in supporting actor, because he is the lead of that film, and he's fucking fantastic. And Stephen Lang as fucking Miles Corporal Quaritch in Avatar: Fire and Ash. I never knew how much I cared about this fucking guy until seeing this movie, and holy shit, is Stephen Lang so good in these pictures. The rest of the characters, they speak for themselves. I've talked about them this episode, and we're getting on almost 40 minutes. This is the longest Hem Productions podcast episode fucking ever, easily. So let's move in to the final category, Best Picture from the Oscars. Am I surprised by anything here? Not really. I really wish that It Was Just an Accident got in. Wish even Sorry Baby got in. But I got the Hemmy Awards for that. The 10 pictures are Begonia, Frankenstein, F1, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams. Now, let's just quickly compare this to last year's 10. Yeah, I had a feeling I liked this a lot more than last year's 10. Now, the 10 from last year. Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. Now, we got I'm Still Here and Emilia Perez, the 2 foreign nominations. We've got 2 foreign nominations here. I'd argue that both of the foreign nominations and the potentials for the foreign nominations, I think both Surat and It Was Just an Accident are better than fucking Emilia Perez or I'm Still Here, to be honest. So that's a bit of an improvement. Plus, we don't have Wicked, which was just not a crazy nom, as in, of course, that's going to be nominated, but not a great film. We have Conclave, which is a good film, but only got nominated, I think, because of how relevant it was at the time. Overall, very good movies last year too. I think last year had better overall movies, but in terms of the 10 Best Picture nominees, I think we've gotten a better 10 this year. The only odd one, really, and what I think is the worst out of all those movies is F1, but even that really does represent a side of Hollywood that deserves to be represented, which is the technical aspect and the box office aspect. It was either going to be F1 or Avatar, and people are more tickled by F1, which they're fucking idiots, but I guess so. Fucking ignore Fire and Ash once more. I'm gonna fucking kill somebody. Anyway, let's get back to the Hemmy nominations. My 10 for Best Picture. Pretty locked in here. I'll be very surprised if anything that I watch in the lead up, in the cleanup work before the big day, will sneak in, but I'm open to it. These are my 10. We've got One Battle After Another, No Other Choice, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, It Was Just an Accident, The Secret Agent, Sorry Baby, Die My Love, Weapons, Eddington, and Avatar: Fire and Ash. Yes, kind of basic 10. I share 5 of the nominees. Do I? 1, 2, 3? Okay, 3 of the nominees. I share 3 of the nominees. Sinners just out of the grasp. Same with Begonia. Those 2 are right on the edge there. I loved both of those, but yeah, I'm happy with my 10. Don't think anything will slide up unless something really blows me out of the water, which is possible. But for now, those are the Hemmys and those are the Oscars. Whoa, what a big episode, guys. I wonder if anybody actually stuck and listened to it. If you did, please send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. Next week on the show, we are going to be talking about, and by next week, I mean this Thursday. This Thursday, we're going to be talking about 2 recent horror movies hitting in January. We have Markiplier's directorial debut, Iron Lung, and Sam Raimi's return to small-budget horror with Send Help. So, good week for movies, good week for Oscars, bad week for people dying, as it is in this really sick, sad world that we live in. Anyway, guys, just think about movies, do what I do, rub your forehead, It'll be okay. And I'll see you next week on the Hem Production. I'll see you this week on the Hem Productions podcast. Fuck, I can't believe I re-recorded all of this again. Shit.